Three questions hit my inbox about Brentwood, Tennessee every single week. What does it actually cost to live here? Is it as good as everyone says it is? And should I really move my family there? Those are fair questions, and honestly, they deserve a better answer than what you'll find on most real estate channels. So today I'm answering all three in one video. Real numbers, real talk, no agenda. By the end of this, you'll know exactly whether Brentwood is the right move for your family. But before we get into it, if you're seriously thinking about a move to Brentwood or anywhere in Williamson County, I want you to know that I work with relocating families and retirees every single week. I get calls and texts from people just like you, some who are moving in 30 days, some who are 18 months out and just starting to plan. Either way, I love these conversations. There's a free consultation link in the description below. Zero pressure, just real information. Also, there are links for my free Nashville relocation guide and a link to my free home search tool. Okay, let's go. Let's start with a number that stops everyone cold. Brentwood's median existing home price runs somewhere between $900,000 to 1.1. I know, that's a big number. And if you're coming from a market like Chicago, Atlanta, or Dallas, your first instinct is probably to close this tab. But stick with me for a second because there's a number that completely changes this conversation. Tennessee has zero state income tax. That's not a small thing. A household earning $250,000 a year moving from California saves between $22,000 and $28,000 every single year. Just in state income taxes. That's not a rounding error. That's a car payment. That's a kid's college fund. For a lot of families, that savings alone covers a significant portion of their monthly mortgage. And then there's the property tax picture. Williamson County's effective property tax rate sits around 0.65. On $1 million home, you're looking at roughly $6,500 per year. Now compare that to Westchester County, New York, where the rate runs around 2.4%. Same $1 million home is $24,000 per year in property taxes. That's a 17.5 annual difference every year. There's no city income tax in Brentwood either. It's unincorporated community. It sits inside Williamson County, which means you skip the tax layer entirely. So when you hear $1 million for homes in Brentwood, the right response isn't sticker shock. The right response is to run to the actual numbers. Because for a lot of high income families leaving high tax states, the total cost of living in Brentwood is often lower than where they came from. Now, let's talk about the day-to-day costs because the mortgage is the only piece of the picture. Brentwood's daily expenses run slightly above the national average, which is honestly what you'd expect in one of the most affluent counties in the country. For Groceries, Fresh Market, and Aldi are both right here in the community. So you've got the premium end and the value end covered without ever leaving Brentwood. That's actually a combination you don't find everywhere. Utilities for a well-insulated home average around $150 to $250 per month. Tennessee's climate is mild enough that you're not running the heat or AC at full blast for 9 months of the year. Dining in Brentwood runs the full range. You've got great neighborhood spots, farm to table concepts along with Franklin Road corridor, and everything in between. Here's the thing I hear over and over from families who've made this move. They come from California or New York or Illinois and they're expecting to feel the financial pinch of a higher mortgage, and then 6 months in they look at their bank account and realize their total monthly outlay is actually lower than what it was back home. Not because Brentwood is cheap, it isn't, but because what they stopped paying in taxes more than made up the difference. That's a pattern I've seen play out a few times here. And then there are the schools, and this is generally the most underpriced part of Brentwood's cost of living story. Williamson County schools are consistently ranked among Tennessee's top 3 districts and compete on a national level. Ravenwood High School, Brentwood High School, and Page High School regularly produce national merit scholars, advanced placement leaders, and students who go on to attend highly selective universities. The district invests heavily per student, retains exceptional teachers, and has built a culture of academic achievement that extends all the way down through elementary schools. Now, here's the context that matters. Families moving from cities like Los Angeles, Chicago, or Washington, D.C. often pay $25,000 to $50,000 per year in private school tuition to get comparable academic outcomes. In Brentwood, those outcomes come with the public school. You're getting private school adjacent results at a public school price. For families with kids, this is one factor alone often closes the decision in favor of Brentwood over every other suburb they're considering. Let me tell you about the pro that most people don't realize they're going to care about until they get here, and that's the safety. Brentwood is one of the safest communities in the entire Southeast. Violent crime is statistically near zero. Property crime is dramatically below the national average. And I don't say this as a marketing line. I say this because I watch what happens to families who move here from high crime metros. It changes how they live. Kids ride bikes to the park without a second thought. People leave their garage doors open. Parents let their teenagers drive to a friend's house at night without sitting up anxious. For families who spent years navigating urban crime, that shift in day-to-day freedom is something they describe as genuinely transformative. It's one of the things that you don't fully appreciate until you've lived it. Beyond safety, the community itself is well maintained and genuinely beautiful. Brentwood is surrounded by greenways and parks. Cool Springs Gallery is minutes away from major retail. There's a strong dining scene along the Franklin Road and Maryland Farms corridors. And the location is exceptional. You're 20 minutes from downtown Nashville on a good day, about 25 minutes from B&A Airport, and 10 minutes from the Cool Springs Employment Corridor. It has a small town feel with large city access. That combination is rare, and it's a big part of why demand here never really softens. We covered taxes in the cost section, but it deserves its own moment as a quality of life pro, because this isn't just about math, it's about what happens to your life when you stop writing those checks. Zero state income tax, low Williamson County property taxes, no city income tax. Tennessee also eliminated its investment income tax in 2021, which makes Brentwood particularly attractive for retirees, business owners, and anyone living on capital gains or dividend income. For high income earners who spent their careers in California, New York, Illinois, or New Jersey, moving to Brentwood doesn't just save money, it changes how they think about their financial future. The compounding effect of $20,000 to $30,000 in annual tax savings over 10 to 20 years is genuinely significant. I've had clients tell me the tax savings alone funded their kids' college education. That's not an exaggeration. That's compound interest on a decision they made when they moved here. The third pro I want to highlight is the long-term equity, and this one matters whether you plan to stay 5 years or 25 years. Brentwood's inventory is chronically low for a very specific reason. There's almost no new land to develop. Unlike Franklin, which still has active builder communities expanding outward, Brentwood is essentially built out. The land is gone, and that scarcity creates a structural floor into which home values that is very difficult to erode. Brentwood home values have appreciated meaningfully over the past decade through market corrections, interest rate spikes, and economic uncertainty. Brentwood has remained one of the most resilient real estate markets in Middle Tennessee. That's not luck. That's a result of a combination of factors: school quality, safety, tax environment, and limited supply that don't go away. What you buy here has a very high probability of being worth more in 10 years than it is today. For most families, that makes this one of the most reliable equity positions available in this part of the country. Okay, I've made the case for Brentwood. Now let me be equally honest about the cons, because this is where most real estate content falls apart. They either skip the cons entirely or they soft pedal them so much they're meaningless. That's not useful to you. So here's the real picture. The number one con is simple. Brentwood is expensive to get into. The floor in desirable Brentwood neighborhoods is pushing $700,000 for a monotone. Most family-sized homes with 4 bedrooms and a good yard in proximity to top elementary schools are well above $900,000. For buyers who are not bringing significant equity from a previous home sale or who don't have a substantial down payment, the entry barrier is generally difficult to clear. This is especially relevant if you are a younger buyer, a first-time buyer, or a professional who's done well but hasn't yet built a major asset base. Brentwood may not be the right starting point, and that's okay. Fairview and parts of Franklin offer the same school district at a meaningfully lower price point. But for Brentwood specifically, you need to go in clear-eyed about what the entry cost looks like. The second con is walkability, or more precisely, the lack of it. Brentwood is a car-dependent community. There is no subway system, no meaningful bus network. While the Greenway Trail system is generally beautiful, it doesn't connect you to the grocery stores or restaurants or your office. Daily errands require a car. Getting to Nashville requires a car. Getting anywhere really requires a car. For people moving from Chicago, New York, San Francisco, or any city where walking and public transit are part of the rhythm of daily life, this is a real adjustment. Some people adopt to it quickly and find they don't miss it as much as they thought. Others find it a genuine quality of life issue. I'm not going to tell you it's not a trade-off. It is. And Brentwood is not going to become a walkable community anytime soon. The land use patterns are set and the density isn't there to support transit. If walkability is truly non-negotiable for your lifestyle, I'd rather tell you that now than have you fall in love with a house and realize 6 months later that the car dependency is wearing on you. And the third con, which is really more of a market dynamic you need to be prepared for, is inventory. Brentwood has some of the lowest housing inventory in the entire Nashville metro. We already talked about why. There's no new land to build on. But the practical implication is that when a well-priced home hits the market in a desirable Brentwood neighborhood, it can receive multiple offers within days, sometimes within hours of going live. This is not a market where you can spend a few weekends casually browsing homes and then decide to write an offer when you feel ready. If you operate that way in Brentwood, you will lose house after house and get extremely frustrated. What you need, and what this isn't me selling my services, this is just the reality of this market, is pre-approval letter already in hand, an agent who has relationships with other agents and knows what's coming before it hits Zillow, and a genuine willingness to make a decisive decision when the right home shows up. If those three things are in place, Brentwood is very navigable. If they're not, it will feel like an impossible market. So let's bring this all the way home. Is Brentwood worth it? For the right family, yes. It's generally one of the best places to live in the country. The schools are elite, the safety is exceptional, the tax environment rewards success, and long-term equity story is as solid as you'll find in Middle Tennessee. The trade-offs are real. High entry price, car dependency, and a market that moves fast. But for families who know what they want, have done their homework, and are ready to move with confidence, Brentwood is a life upgrade, full stop. If that sounds like you, let's talk. I work in this market every day. I know which neighborhoods fit which buyers, and I'll give you the straight story on every house you consider. Click the link in the description to book your free consultation. And if this video was helpful, subscribe. I put out honest Williamson County content every week. I'll see you in the next one.